He said, pursue, overtake. David begins to go after them, and all of a sudden he meets this Egyptian boy who was supernaturally left behind to tell David exactly where the enemy was. And basically, David goes after them, and in verse 17, David attacked them from twilight until evening. This is all day long of the next day. This is over a day period. He's battling, he's fighting, he's in the trenches. Not a man of them escaped except 400 young men who rode on camels that fled. So David recovered all that the Amalekites had carried away, and David rescued his 2 wives. That's a message for another day. Because one is always more than enough, you know that. And nothing of theirs was lacking, either small or great, sons or daughters, spoil or anything which they had taken from them. David recovered all. Then David took all the flocks and herds they had driven before those other livestock and said, this is David's spoil. You know, when David came back, this is interesting. You can read the verses for yourself, but it's interesting to read and note that 200 of the 400 men were so weary they couldn't go with David. And when they came back with all this extra spoil, the men that went with him, some of them said, we're not giving the 200 who didn't come anything. See, we can get a little mean in the church even. Well, they didn't help out. I didn't see them show up when it was the day to clean the church. I didn't see them show up at this event or that event. And we can say they're not entitled to any of the goodies, of the treats, of the blessings. No, but David knew that the blessings wasn't because of him. He knew it was only because of God. And see, if you can realize that everything that you have now is because God is blessing you because he has others in mind, you'll have that same heart that David said, no, they're going to get the same share of the spoils that you get because guess what? It's God that brought us through this, not our own strength or our own might. So David pursued, he overtook, and he recovered all. I came to encourage you today, especially those that are here this morning. Maybe you're in a fierce battle. Maybe you've lost something that's been devastating to you. Maybe you've been discouraged when you came through this door and you've lost your fight. I believe today you're about to get it back in Jesus' name. Bow your heads with me.